It's 2025. We have self-driving cars and AI that predicts our dinner, yet leadership still looks like a 1950s country club. Picture it, a boardroom full of men, and a woman's valid point gets brushed off. Maybe it's that time of the month. It sounds like a bad joke, but it's a real, persistent problem. The myth that women's hormones make them unfit for leadership is scientifically bankrupt. We trust women as surgeons, pilots, and parents, yet question their ability to handle a boardroom. Men's anger is passion. Women's is hysteria. The double standard is exhausting. Women must walk a tightrope, assertive but not aggressive, confident but not arrogant. These barriers aren't about hurt feelings. They're about keeping power where it's always been. The system wasn't built for women, and the rules still favor those already in the room. It's time to call out the lazy, sexist excuses and demand real change. Think you're just imagining the lack of women in charge? It's not your imagination. It's a reality backed by hard numbers and decades of slow progress. The halls of power, whether in government or business, are still overwhelmingly male. In 2025, women make up half the world's population, but when it comes to parliamentary seats, they hold less than 30%. That means for every 3 people making the rules, only 1 is likely to be a woman, if that. 7 out of 10 lawmakers are men. The faces making decisions about everything from healthcare to education to the economy are overwhelmingly male. And that's not just a coincidence. It's a pattern. It's like the Expendables writing your parental leave policy. And if you think business is more progressive, think again. The gender gap is even wider in the corporate world. Female CEOs in the Fortune 500 barely crack 10%. That's right. Out of 500 of the world's most powerful companies, fewer than 50 are led by women. The rest? Still a boys' club. For every woman leading a major company, there are 9 men. The higher you climb, the more the gender gap widens, and the fewer women you see at the top. This isn't a pipeline problem. Women are more educated than ever before. In fact, in many countries, women outnumber men in universities and graduate at higher rates. The issue isn't about getting women in the door. It's at the promotion faucet, not the entry point. Women are entering the workforce in record numbers, but they're not being promoted at the same rate as men. Even in fields dominated by women, like healthcare and education, the higher you go, the fewer women you see. Leadership roles are still mostly reserved for men, even when women make up the majority of the workforce. And when women do break through, it's often during a crisis, when the odds are stacked against them. They're handed the wheel when the ship is already sinking, set up to fail, and then blamed for the disaster. This is called the glass cliff, a phenomenon where women are more likely to be put in charge of struggling organizations, only to be criticized when things don't magically improve. So when someone claims we've reached equality, show them the data. Numbers don't lie, and the statistics are clear. We're not there yet. The world is still overwhelmingly run by one demographic. Men, mostly from similar backgrounds, making decisions for everyone else. A global sausage fest might be fine at a barbecue, but it's a terrible way to run a planet. When leadership looks the same everywhere, we all lose out. We're missing out on talent, creativity, and fresh ideas because we haven't learned to share the grill or the boardroom table. Imagine what we could achieve if everyone had a seat. It's time to open up leadership to everyone. When we do, we all stand to benefit from a world that's more fair, more innovative, and more representative of us all. Why are the numbers so stubborn? Why, despite decades of effort, do we still see so few women in the highest ranks of leadership? The answer isn't just about talent or ambition. It's about the invisible barriers that women face every single day. Because women face the bias gauntlet. It's a relentless series of hurdles, both obvious and hidden, that make every step forward feel like an uphill battle. The obvious obstacles, sexism, harassment, being passed over for promotions, are just the start. These are the headline issues, the ones that make the news, but they're only the tip of the iceberg. The real grind is the daily microaggressions, those subtle, often unintentional slights that chip away at confidence and belonging. Ideas dismissed, being called honey instead of your name, or being expected to organize the office party simply because you're a woman. These small slights add up, sending a clear message: you're not seen as a leader here. Unconscious bias is everywhere. shaping perceptions and decisions in ways most people don't even notice. Identical resumes, John gets the job, Jennifer gets overlooked. The same qualifications, the same experience, but different outcomes, just because of a name. Men are hired for their potential, often given the benefit of the doubt. Women, on the other hand, must prove themselves over and over, facing tougher questions and higher expectations at every stage. The motherhood penalty is real. Men with kids are seen as stable and committed, while women with children are viewed as distracted or less dedicated. The same family photo on a desk can mean pride for a man, but suspicion for a woman. Women are forced to choose between career and family in ways men aren't. The pressure to have it all is a double standard that leaves many women feeling like they're always falling short, no matter how hard they work. The bias gauntlet is relentless, and making it through is a testament to women's strength, resilience, and determination, not the system's fairness or support. These barriers aren't accidental. They're built into the very culture of our workplaces. They're reinforced by tradition, by outdated policies, and by the stories we tell about who belongs at the top. Until we actively dismantle these barriers, challenging assumptions, changing policies, and holding leaders accountable, progress will be painfully slow, and true equality will remain out of reach. It's time to stop blaming women for not leaning in hard enough and start fixing the system itself. Real change means shifting the burden from individuals to institutions. Only then will leadership truly be open to all, regardless of gender, background, or circumstance. That's when we'll see real progress, and a future where everyone has a fair shot at the top. Want to see bias in action? It's everywhere, sometimes subtle, sometimes glaringly obvious. But one of the clearest places to spot it is in the way we talk about leaders, especially when it comes to gender. Watch how we talk about leaders. The language we use isn't just words. It shapes how we see power, authority, and who deserves to lead. A decisive man is a visionary, strong, or assertive. He's celebrated for taking charge, for being bold, for making tough calls. A decisive woman? She's called bossy, shrill, or difficult. The same confidence that's admired in men is criticized in women, as if leadership is a trait reserved for one gender. The same traits, confidence, ambition, directness, are praised in men and weaponized against women, turning strengths into supposed flaws. Female politicians get called emotional or hysterical for raising their voice. Men are passionate, inspiring, or charismatic. The double standard is impossible to ignore. Women's appearance is scrutinized endlessly, hairstyle, clothes, makeup, while men's is ignored. A woman's outfit can make headlines, while a man's goes unnoticed. Their personal lives are dissected. Every relationship, every family decision, every rumor becomes public debate. Single, married, kids, no kids, there's no right answer. Whatever choice a woman makes, it's questioned, judged, and held against her. The media flattens female leaders into stereotypes, reducing complex individuals to a handful of tired labels. Ice Queen, Iron Lady, or Mother Figure. These labels aren't just lazy, they're damaging, boxing women into roles that limit how we see their leadership. It shapes public perception and undermines authority, making it harder for women to be seen as legitimate leaders. It tells us, often without words, that leadership has a certain look and gender, and that women are the exception, not the rule. As long as these double standards persist, women will have to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Women will face an uphill battle, not because they lack ability, but because the system is stacked against them. We need to call out these narratives and demand better from our media. Leadership is about ability, not appearance or gender. It's time to challenge the old scripts and write new ones. Let's judge leaders by their actions, their vision, and their impact, not by outdated stereotypes or double standards. To understand today's inequality, look at history. Our workplaces and governments were designed by men, for men. For centuries, women were legally excluded from power, property, and education. The modern workday was built for someone with a wife at home, free from domestic duties. When women entered the workforce, they joined a system never meant for them. Competing in a game with rules written to exclude you isn't a level playing field. The inequality we see isn't accidental. It's a legacy of how these systems were built. We've patched some problems, but the architecture remains. Real change means redesigning the system, not just letting women in the door. Sure, laws have changed, but the old system's ghost still haunts us. The 9-to-5 workday was designed for a world where men worked and women stayed home. Today, most families need two incomes, but companies still reward long hours in the office. This penalizes women who are still expected to handle most childcare. Public policy lags too. No national paid leave, scarce affordable childcare. These aren't just inconveniences, they're structural barriers. Even our idea of a leader is stuck in the past. Commanding, hierarchical, masculine. Empathy and collaboration, often labeled feminine, are undervalued. Women must either mimic men or have their strengths dismissed. The old rules still run the show, limiting who gets to lead. It's time to redefine leadership for the world we actually live in. This isn't just a women's issue, it's everyone's loss. Excluding half the population from leadership is like playing with half a team. Homogeneous leadership breeds groupthink and bad decisions. Diverse teams see more, solve better, and innovate faster. Companies with more women leaders are more profitable and resilient. The economic cost of ignoring women's talent is staggering. Gender equality isn't just fair, it's smart business. Clinging to outdated models means leaving money and ideas on the table. It limits our daughters' ambitions and tells our sons leadership is their birthright. Stereotypes hurt everyone, not just women. The fight for representation is about building a better, more effective system for all. When women lead, outcomes improve for everyone. Equality benefits us all. So why are we still waiting? What happens when women lead? Everything changes. Female leaders shift priorities. Healthcare, education, family leave, benefiting entire societies. During crises, women-led countries like New Zealand and Germany excelled with empathy and decisiveness. In business, companies with more women in leadership are more profitable and innovative. They invest in people, offer flexibility, and build better cultures. Leaders like Whitney Wolfe Herd and Mary Barra aren't just succeeding, they're rewriting the rules. The women in charge effect is real. More humane, more effective leadership. When women lead, everyone wins. The problem is clear, the history is messy, and the numbers are frustrating. So what now? We need action from everyone. It's not about kicking men out, it's about building a bigger table. Support women, vote for them, buy from them, promote them. Speak up when you see bias, give credit, amplify voices, mentor and sponsor. Small acts of allyship create a culture where women are valued. Call out double standards and hold institutions accountable. Reset what leadership looks and sounds like. Champion a new model, collaborative, empathetic, inclusive. These aren't feminine traits, they're just good leadership. Demand better for everyone, not just women. The future isn't female, it's equal, and it's up to us to build it.